Dahil Paskong-Pasko na po, ang aming regalo po sa inyo ay isang pelikulang hindi pa po kamakailan lumabas sa telebisyon called The Bladed Hand. Let's watch an exclusive from the film.
Personally, I feel that the study of our martial arts history helps us define who we are. And it gives us a better perspective on what went on during that period. What was going on during the Spanish conquest? What were they up against? What were our ancestors up against? Did they work together? Did they clash every day? Who were the other cultures that they were clashing with? And all of these factors played a role in the development and the evolution of Arnis, or Kali or Eskrima, and the development of our identity as well, which we carry to this day.
When you see the blade, it is supposed to remind you of how your forefathers defended your land against conquistadors.
When you practice FME, you're consciously and deliberately drawing upon an image of your past. There is a particular image of the past that we want to revive and bring out into the present.
And what exactly is that image of the past? The difficulty in researching the Filipino martial arts is that there are no surviving documents that could pinpoint their exact origins. Unlike the European sword fighting styles from the Middle Ages, there were no manuals written for the Filipino martial arts before the 20th century. The archetypal image for FMA is that of a certain Visayan warrior from the 1500s, and many practitioners like to trace their FMA roots to him. Very little is known about him and the fighting system he used. What we know is that in the year 1521, the explorer Ferdinand Magellan met his death at the hands of Cebuano natives led by a man named Lapu-Lapu. This is where the fact ends and the arguments begin. It is said that Lapu-Lapu and his men were skilled in a fighting system called Kali. Some call it Eskrima or Arnis. Some say that it originated from the Srivijaya Empire and then later on developed throughout the Majapahit Empire, and that this is the mother art of all Filipino martial arts. But there are some academics who have a slightly different perspective on the matter.
Trade was the main relationship between us at the time, the polities, the political units of the time, in connection with the Srivijaya and with the Majapahit. Whether the FMA came from this is another issue entirely, because there have been claims that the various styles of the FMA could be traced to the Srivijaya fighting styles, but we have to look at certain things. First, what did the Srivijaya fighting styles look like? If you want to look at, let's say, this movement comes from this culture, that movement comes from this culture, it's going to be very difficult to do. They cannot be recorded archaeologically. You find remains of metal weapons and tools, but you don't find evidence for how they were used. Just the tools. So there's no way to reconstruct the usage. You can make inferences, you can make guesses.
So, sa kampilan, ito ay parang mumurahin o simple lang na pirasong kahoy, dalawa. Gumagamit sila ng tali, ratan, o kung ano man. Ito ay itataga mo na lang sa kalaban.
Para matanggal yung ano?
At yung talim ay puputulin.
Yung tali.
So, walang nasayang na panahon. Hindi na kailangang hugutin at saka itaga. Kung hindi, ang Kadalasan kasing forma ng kampilan ay nakaganito. So kung may kalaban siya, diretso tagana.
Let's take a look at some of the terms used for FMA. They have Arnis, you have Kali, and you have Eskrima. Interestingly, between these three, the word Kali, is probably notably close to an old term for sword, kalis. It exists in both Bisaya and in Tagalog. In some documents, the S was dropped and it was called Kali. But kalis is a generic term for skill in swords. In much the same way that one of the old Tagalog terms for skill in weaponry was called armas. Magaling sa armas. O magaling mag-armas. Meaning arms, weapons. Which is the term for arnis. Arnes is the Spanish term from which the word arnis was derived. And that's the Tagalog pronunciation of arnes. Eskrima is the more overt Spanish term that was integrated into the different Philippine languages, including Bisaya, including Ilonggo, including Tagalog, etc.
When we return, more of the bladed hand and its impact on the capital of the entertainment industry, Hollywood.